I'm Grandson Crawford.
And I'm Tony, get the Omi.
Welcome to Veve Versus, where we take two collectibles and talk about who would win in a battle for the best. We break it down by edition size and rarity, popularity, and then we tell you who we think wins in the game of value. So first off, are you excited about this episode?
I'm super excited about this episode. Yes, I am, bro.
I'm very excited about this episode. Are you passionate about these two fine females?
I'm very passionate. I'm more passionate about one though than the
other. Okay. So we already taken sides. You see how Tony does. So for the first episode, we're going to be breaking down in this Veve Versus Sue Storm versus Storm from the X-Men, aka Aurora, aka Wifey.
Yes, Sirski.
So first and foremost, let's look at the edition size. So Sue and Storm have the same edition size and the same rarities, exact same numbers. So in that category, they're perfectly matched, which sets them up for the next phase of the Veve Versus, which is popularity. So we're going to dive into the franchise stats for these things. First of all, which do you like better, Tony? X-Men or Fantastic Four?
Of course, X-Men. X-Men over Fantastic Four all day.
Right.
The characters are doper. They mean more to Marvel, I feel like, than Fantastic Four. Even though Fantastic Four, correct me if I'm wrong, are they the first like superheroes of Marvel?
They are not the first. Captain America is the first superhero of Marvel. He was made during like war times as like propaganda to be like, yeah, America, which we've kept doing. So there's that.
So I was at least about to give Fantastic Four that, but they're not even that. So I can't. X-Men all the way, bro.
But they are the first Marvel family. So there's that, right? A little family friendly business, a little family fun. I would love that family, especially if I got to be super powered in that situation. Whose powers would you want out of the Fantastic Four?
Human Torch is pretty cool, but I mean. But we're talking about Storm. So if she make it rain one time, Human Torch don't even matter.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like I would probably want Sue Storm's powers just because she's so incredibly strong with her force field. She stopped Galactus. She could just make a force field appear in your brain. I'm like, she could go invisible, right? If you don't want to see, you ever run into somebody in the streets and you don't want to see them? Yeah. Like, I don't want to have this conversation. You just beep.
Real quick,
beep, and just
having that power is pretty dope.
But I'm an X-Men kid since the 1992 cartoon. That got me collecting all the X-Men comics, and that kind of brings us into our next thing. So in terms of like franchise popularity, I'm talking like box office. We're going to compare the box office of the first two. So the first Fantastic Four, 2015, worldwide box office was 167 million, 0.8, right? First X-Men was 2000, so 15 years earlier, and that was 296 million, 0.8, or 296.8 million. And and so I could say that in terms of like box office popularity, X-Men has Fantastic Four beat by a lot, prior to inflation and all of those things. Now, if we were going to break it down into like comic books, according to Polygon.com, the 1991 X-Men #1 sold 8.2 million copies. So it's the best-selling American single issue of all time. Whereas the 2002 Fantastic Four #60 was actually third on the top 10 list and only sold 752,000 copies.
Didn't even touch a milli.
It didn't even touch a milli. So it seems silly, right? It seems like, okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at X-Men dominating the franchises, right? Yeah. Franchisees.
Movies and comics, yeah.
Franchisea, if I was going to make it into multiple. And in terms of a character in particular, so Storm, as a character is super beloved. Like she has so many appearances with like T'Challa and different things like that. I think right now, if we're looking at the overall, like where it's going to go, I really think that Storm is going to probably take the cake, because not to mention Storm's first appearance.
FA. It's FA.
She's FA.
She definitely get a little bit of the ledge just off
So
that.
she's the first female Black character on Veve.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you count Makari, right?
Yeah.
She's the first X-Men, X-Man, X-person, if we're being PC.
Yeah. Okay.
X-Men would be weird if it was today, because it would be X-people.
Yeah, that's come on. Come on.
So and I mean her when I at the time of making this recording, her secret rare was only 700 more than Sue's though.
Okay, $700 more.
And Sue is not a first appearance. So what would you say, like, how do you think, who do you think would take the win in this situation? What do you think Sue brings to the table that are going to get people to, you know, maybe she can flip Storm?
It's kind of hard for me to say that she I mean, again, like her not being the first appearance,
right?
That's definitely not in her favor. She is the first Fantastic Four character in the non-Mighty Marvel form.
Right.
So she has that. Is she the I mean, I guess she has. I mean, a lot of people back in the day liked Sue Storm.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people, she kind of came up more in the old school 60s, 70s. I feel like Storm is more of a new gen.
Right.
Like I grew up on Storm in the 90s, and
yeah.
That was my. It's so interesting because she was, like, to me, the only Black superhero that I even seen on TV.
Oh, wow.
In the 90s, I don't remember any, because Black Panther, we hear about him now, but he wasn't a character that I grew up on. I didn't even know Black Panther in the 90s.
Right. And Static Shock wasn't 90s. I think that was later, wasn't it?
Static Shock a superhero?
Yeah. That was later, I think.
You said Static Shock. Is Static Shock is he a superhero?
Static Shock? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a super. What are you talking about? Of course he's a superhero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wait, what would you classify him as?
He got superpowers.
Oh, shade on Static Shock. How else? That's how you qualify a superhero.
Yeah. We talking about Storm that got lightning and thunder.
With Storm, right?
Static. I can create static. I can rub my feet a few times in my covers and hit you with a static shot. So am I a superhero?
What? But you can't float around and fly around on a trash can with your shocky feet.
No, I don't want to fly around on trash cans.
Fair enough. Touche. That's not a good example of his abilities. But Invisible Woman, I mean, again, like, it's hard for me. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I don't really have any things that I can think of that could flip her over Storm. I mean, so I'm thinking right now in terms of like a deal, right? Like Sue Storm on the market right now at the time of this recording is much less than Storm. So if I were to give kind of like, and this is not financial advice at all, but if I were to give kind of like my 2 cents on it, I would say stack a few Storms for sure of whatever rarity, right? Because even the common, we've seen multiple times, these things go up, right? And how many times have we been in a situation where it's been like, oh man, I should have bought it when it was under 100, and now it's like 500, and we're like, no, I want 3, and you're like, it's backwards, let's do it. But Sue is so much less than Storm in her common and uncommon, even in the secret rare right now, that it wouldn't be a bad idea to get both. But I think ultimately, if we were to wrap up this Veve Versus, I would say Storm is going to be more valuable long term, like in the whole scope of things. But Sue is not a bad buy. What do you say to that?
I will 100% agree to you. I think again, Sue is such an old school character. Even her outfit, outfit is very old school. I mean, you see with DC cover girls, they're look, I mean, like look at their fits compared to like an old school Sue Storm. That was back in the day where women covered up,
fully covered.
They covered up,
gloves to the elbows.
Right. They didn't really have that many rights, so like they were invisible. That's why she's
right. I mean, representation wise, you hit the nail on it. Bam.
Right. So I mean, now we're like in an era where like female superhero characters are like liberated. They're like they wear what they want to wear. They powerful,
Yeah.
They're the leader of the team. They're not, in the background, invisible somewhere.
Right.
But I would say I agree with you. Storm wins this. Storm definitely is a FA. Definitely, a character you should again, no financial advice, but I would invest, especially coming in new into VV. I would say definitely Storm is a better character to cop.
Now, do you have either of those collectibles?
I have Storm. Yeah, I have ultra rare Storm. I did catch a visible girl on a visible woman on a drop, but I flipped her.
Nice.
I flipped her.
Yeah, I mean that's funny that you touched on the invisible. I mean, we really need more visible girls. You know what I mean? We need more visible women. That's what we need. We're past that time.
We definitely
now it's time to bring up a storm. You know what I mean? It's time to have a hurricane. It's time to cause gale winds on the force of change. So I agree with you fully. I think we're on the same page with that. FA usually, especially with something as big as a franchise as XMen. I mean, we talked a little bit about the numbers of the franchises, and those are just the comic books and the movies. That doesn't even touch on the cartoon series, because they had both. They had a Fantastic Four cartoon series and they had an X-Men cartoon series. And when I say X-Men cartoon series, everybody knows what I'm talking about. When I say Fantastic Four cartoon series, they go, what channel was that on?
What channel was that on?
You know what I mean? And it was Fox.
Add two video games too, because I'm like a big gamer,
right?
Especially coming up in that time, like X-Men, the game was fire, like that game, and also Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah,
that was a huge game. And if you think about it, do you remember any Marvel characters from Fantastic Four on that game?
There was never. No. So yeah, I mean, Storm was in Marvel vs. Capcom. There was a Children of the Atom on Sega Genesis. Yep. They had the arcade game and where you could be Colossus and be like, do all that.
The only game I cared about playing when I went to.
Oh my God, they ate all my laundry money back then.
All my Chuck E. Cheese tokens. I ain't have no tickets at the end because that was
none. You were just there like I beat it or I didn't. I never got to the end of that game. Did you?
None of us did.
Nobody did.
We didn't care about the end.
It's the journey.
It's the journey.
It's the journey. So for everybody listening, watching, this Veve Versus goes to Storm. She's an FA, more popular franchise. And we really think, especially with the future movies that are going to be coming up with the MCU introducing the X-Men, Storm is just going to blow up. There is going to be a Fantastic Four movie coming out, and that's going to definitely bump Sue up in value for sure. So if you have one, I have an uncommon and a common Sue. I have about 4 common Storms, and I have 5 or 6 uncommon Storms. If you have any of these, definitely at least keep one for those catalysts. Not financial advice for when those films come out, because they're definitely going to pump around that time. We saw that with Spider-Man, and the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man's value go up when No Way Home came out. So just keep an eye out for that. I definitely keep at least one in the pocket, and then flip when you can get profits if you can on the other ones. But Storm is definitely going to take this Veve Versus. Let us know in the comments who you think the most valuable collectible will be. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel, and we'll catch you next time. I'm Granson Crawford.
And I'm Tony. Get the on me.
But we're Veve Bros.